Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another video. I know it's been a minute. We are working on the CRX right now. If you can already tell, it's a little bit different up front. I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Little rough introduction to the videos. We haven't made a video in a little bit. Last one I did was filling some mounts for the Camry, my dad's Camry actually, that I was working on. And I know that's not really racing related and whatnot, not typical for the channel. But I want to let you guys know a little bit what I've been doing, what I've been up to and whatnot. To be honest with you, I haven't done much racing. I haven't been to the track. I haven't gone to many meets. I went to one last week, but aside from that, guys, I've kind of been out of cars. And not that I'm giving up racing or anything, but you guys deserve to know. I do have some other goals this year. I'm trying to save up to buy a house. We have big plans for the CRX that'll be revealed in the next month. I'm not going to say it right now, but yeah, I'm trying to buy a house. I'm trying to save up. I'm working a lot. So I do apologize for the lack of videos. I'm going to do my best to try to schedule in a couple days, a couple mornings, or a couple afternoons, whatever it takes to get at least 2 videos out to you guys a week. If I can't meet the deadline, I am sorry, but I'm going to try my best. That being said, we are working on the CRX. If you guys follow my Instagram at SlowIntegra, you know exactly what we've been doing these last couple days. Because although I haven't done an in-depth video over here on YouTube, I have been doing update pictures and Instagram stories and whatnot on there. So it's a little bit easier to get the content to you guys through there. And now I can actually show you exactly what I've been working on. For those of you who have been with this build, the all-wheel drive CRX build, since the beginning, about a year and a half ago now, this was the original plastic sheet that we overlaid the OEM bumper for the CRX, because I really don't like the OEM bumper. It just looks really notchy from the factory. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, not knocking anybody who likes it, but not my personal taste. So we had ended up putting this plastic overlay over it, and it was nice. It wasn't bad. Like, it had the signature look of the SB Tuning Integra, which is over here as basically as a shelf, unfortunately. But you can see that one had the holes as well. It's kind of like the signature look of the cars that we build here, especially for when we do bumpers of this style. Anyways, this bumper has gone through some abuse. Over here, for example, is where the side exit used to be. Obviously, there's a big hole for it since we don't use a side exit anymore. On this side, it had been stretched, heated up, and pulled out for once when we were at the track, and the slicks weren't clearing on turns, so we did some modifications there. It looked awful. Not only that, but it is kind of short. The bumper doesn't look super nice, especially now that it's on a taller tire. It's like on a 25-inch tire right now compared to the 23s that were on it before, so it just doesn't sit very well with the car. Also, another thing we didn't like from it, when I actually cut this sheet out back in the day, I didn't rivet it on 100% parallel on the top and on the bottom, since I went like kind of a curve. And if you guys watched the old video when I was doing the bumper, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It served its function, and we're happy how it worked. But this time we actually remade it and actually added about 2 or 3 inches at the bottom, and I think it looks so much better. Not only that, but if you guys saw a couple videos ago, the hood had came up on the CRX, destroyed the windshield, and destroy the hood because of those little push latch, the little buttons, and I wasn't going to use that on another hood, but they were okay if it were a bumper and whatnot, so I'm going to go ahead and run that on the corners right there. We have one right there and another right there. As for the bottom, we made like this little bracket, kind of like a bumper skeleton, which I'll pull off the bumper in a couple minutes and show you exactly what I'm talking about. But you can see an M6 screw right there and a screw right there. Yes, I'm saying screw because it's not like a hex bolt. Maybe it's not the correct terminology, but whatever. And then as a signature look for it, since the name is La Vader, which is like for Darth Vader, but the girl version, whatever you want to call it. Vader has on his mask like this breathing apparatus that goes like this. Kind of looks like a triangle. So instead of having the offsetted upside down triangle that we normally go to where the radiator is, on this one I did a regular triangle looking style, a whole bunch of 2-inch hole cutouts, and kind of like stacked it up like this, like a triangle, like the mask does look on Darth Vader's mask. So I think that looks pretty nice. I'm not 100% done with the bumper. Like I said, I'm going to take it off in a minute to show you guys the skeleton on the bottom. But also another thing, it is pretty rigid since we have the mounting location there and there on both sides for the corners. But for the front, especially after drilling out all these holes right here, you can tell that there's some flap there. And this might be fine once we're, sitting at a car show or at a meet or something, or even at the house. But once you start driving, I know that this is going to cause some flapping. And even though it doesn't really matter, and it's going to be something that kind of ticks me off because I want to have nice rolling shots of the car. I want to be able to have it look look presentable. That being said, I have this flat piece of aluminum, really lightweight, somewhat thin. I think I can find thinner though, and easy to bend, but they keep their shape unless you put pressure to it. We're going to go to Home Depot and pick up a little bit more of this. I've used this before for when I made the bracket for the radiator up here. You can tell that there's a flat piece of aluminum right there, so it's not the full length, but basically what I want to do is create from somewhere around here to somewhere around there, a brace at the bottom behind the bumper. That way you won't be able to see all this flex like that. And it'll look nicer while driving, as well as it'll just be a lot stronger structurally. So yeah, we're gonna head to Home Depot right now, and we'll take you guys along for the way. Oh, another thing, update from the headlights. You guys know that I had those headlights, shout out to Joey, who hooked me up with them actually like a year and a half ago maybe, from Jacksonville. He had brought me these, and I traded out the OEM ones that I had, and obviously we don't use a headlight intake anymore. So we went back to the OEM style, and they're just regular glass ones. I need one corner light, and hopefully I'm gonna get that soon, but I have the other corner light right there. The front end's coming together a lot nicer than what it was before. So it's not a show car yet. Well, I don't think it'll ever be a show car, but it's a lot nicer, more presentable than it was a couple of months ago for sure. Shane's got the white CRX hood that we're gonna get put on this in the next couple weeks, and that'll look a lot better for that. And I am still looking for a windshield. I know that you guys recommended that I go through my insurance because this is a registered and insured car. But unfortunately, when I did call my insurance, they said that the policy that I had listed this under was like the least minimum drive or driven. Basically, if I crash, it doesn't cover my car, but it covers the other person. I got the cheapest of the cheap on this because it's not my daily driver. I have 3 other vehicles, and I just wanted whatever I could legally use, the lowest possible, just to drive it. So it doesn't cover the windshield. I called a whole bunch of places here in town, as well as Orlando, Jacksonville. There's a few places that quoted me like $300-400, and then the people who wanted cheaper are like, oh, I won't drive it, I won't drive up there, and it's just kind of been a pain. I have one guy that says he can do it for like $220, I think, but I have to call him in a couple days because he couldn't get me in this week. But we'll see. Hopefully I can get the windshield soon and then get some new stickers on there. I love the placement of the K-Tune Burton Racing right in the center. I think it looks really good right there. And then the SP Tuning banner also, obviously I want to get another one for the car. It's kind of like the signature look as well. But I know that this video so far I've just kind of been rambling. But I'm gonna run to Home Depot or Lowe's, whichever one I end up going to right now. I'll take you guys along the way and show you exactly what we're getting from there. At the time of this recording, today is Thursday, March 19th, 2020. If you guys are living under a rock, then you might not know, but anybody else knows that there's a virus going around right now, the coronavirus. I think it's CV-19 or something, I think is the correct name of it. I could be mistaken, I'm not a doctor or nothing. It seems like it's being put out, like they're making it seem worse than it is, my personal opinion. But regardless of if it's awful or if it's not that bad, just 2 days ago, I think the government instituted some regulations or some suggestions for each governor to pass on their discretion. And I work at a restaurant, so one of the regulations that they suggested, which our governor in Florida actually took him up on, was to limit seating to 50% of what it normally is able to occupy, and to strongly encourage to-go orders instead of people sitting down. And if they do sit down, we can't have them sit within 6 feet of another party. So if we have a table of 2 and then another table of 2, they need to be 6 feet apart from each different table. Aside from that, I think they've recommended no larger than groups of 10 when it comes to like hanging out or going to the beach or anything, just to try to keep the spread of coronavirus to the minimum. And from what we've heard so far, it's not that bad for someone like myself or most of my viewers, most of you guys at home. I look at my demographics, most of you guys are within like 25 to 40 who watch this. Then there's obviously some older, some younger as well. But for most people within our age group, if you get the virus, it's basically a dry cough, and you get some body aches, if I'm not mistaken, and a high fever. But after a day or 2, I think the fever breaks. From the videos that I've watched of people who have had it, fever breaks not too hard and you recover. The bad thing is, and the thing that you have to really be careful with, it spreads very easily. And why am I saying this? If you get it and it doesn't affect you bad, but you come in contact with someone who is an elderly person or who has an underlying respiratory condition or anything, or even if you talk to someone and you give it to someone who then they have contact with someone who is around an elderly person or has that pre-lining or the pre-existing condition, they can have a lot of complications from that. And it might seem silly, like, oh, we're not going to worry about it, but when it comes down to it, you got to take care of the people around you, and you got to make sure that, you know, people who are innocent, who don't have any reason to be contracting a virus or have a trouble fighting it. I don't know, I'm just rambling, but just be careful, guys. Really be careful. They're shutting down a whole bunch of stuff. Most big cities already have a lot of laws or have a lot of non-necessary or non-essential stores shut down. So who knows what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. I'll definitely keep you guys updated when it comes to the Florida stuff. I'm not a news person. I'm not a health advisor or nothing, but just sharing with you guys what I know and what I feel. Yeah, that's enough of that. We're going to Lowe's right now. I'll see you in a second. Pulling up to the hardware section. Normally have that stuff over here by the bolts. Wow, they got a lot. So yeah, there's anything from flat steel for welding, flat steel, other materials, square tubing, and flat aluminum and square aluminum. Let me show you. Bunch of stuff. Aluminum, steel, threaded rod, non-threaded rod. I think I'm gonna get something like this. Actually, that is a little flimsy. I might get something thicker. All right, aluminum, 1/8 inch by 3/4 inch with 4 foot long. So it's not gonna be the whole bumper, it's gonna be like the front section, but that should still give us the rigidity that we need. And I just bent it a little bit, you can tell with my hand, just right off the bat. All right, I'm backing out right now from Lowe's. It was $6.40, which is actually pretty cheap, just for this piece of aluminum. Walk in the road, like cross later, but they were walking the whole time. I don't know. And not only like if it's the right of way, I'm not getting angry about that. I don't care. Losing 10 seconds of my day isn't gonna bother me. But dude, you're walking with your back to the traffic. You could get hit by a car, especially an elderly person who can't jump out of the way very fast. Like, you have to take precautions, you know? I don't know. That's what I think. Now that's a good time right there. Our four-wheeler on their little, I think that's a Fusion. That's what's up. Good man. All right, so back home, we are going to start actually measuring out where we're gonna put this. I wanna center it to the holes. That way there's good strength on both sides evenly. Basically what I'm gonna do, I'm going to kind of do like a rough placement and then bend towards how I want the bumper on the outside. And then once it's on the outside to my form, or to the shape that I want it, then I'll slip it underneath and actually make some holes and rivet it on. When I'm actually riveting it on, I'm going to be using these little clamps as well as some vice grips. So I'll show you guys exactly the process right now. I'm just going to set the camera on some time lapse right now and get the boring stuff out of the way for you. So we've got 4 holes drilled out over top and on the brace. And basically I did 2 on the outside right here. And on the outside ones, I'll probably just brush them black over top afterwards. But, all right, let's go ahead and try this out. I know it's not positioned, but I just want to have one halfway done just to hold it into place. I'm not going to get them all the way tight until it's all of the rivets are in place. Still flappy. But now there's like this flap right here from the bumper to the brace. I guess it's better than before, just not as good as I would have liked. I think the best thing to do would have been to do the skeleton as I did for the corners, all across. Which, speaking of which, let me take the bumper off and show you exactly what we had done right there. All right, so we have the quick release on the corners right there, and I made that little skeleton. On Instagram, I explained it. Basically, it's just welded on the top and on the traction bar. The traction bar is actually welded to the chassis, so it's not gonna shift. Then I welded on a nut to a washer, and that's for that side. And basically did the same method for right here. It's still bare steel. I have to paint it so it won't rust. And then another quick release right there. As for the brace, I don't know. I think I did a really good job at it. Not very good. Maybe if I give it some more rivet spots, it'll make the structure a little stronger, maybe? I don't know. Regardless of how the bottom brace came out, it is still super easy to put on. Obviously, the 2 push buttons would be the easiest. Just lift this right there. And on the old bumper, I told you guys that it weighed like 15 pounds on the original video because I still had the front crash bar and everything. This probably weighs like 3-4 pounds. Super light. It's on the push buttons right there. Obviously, it has a little bit of sag on the front end, which is why we have the skeleton at the bottom. This has a hole to where it goes and just lifts a little bit like that. You can see that it meets up with the headlights a little better when I just drill, or when I put the little screws in, and that just sits like that. So let me just do it on camera for you guys real quick, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is my first time that I've ever like constructed anything like that. So it's not perfect. A lot of people do it a lot better than I do. This was just kind of my first go at it, and I think I'll do stuff like this in the future for other cars as well. Definitely for the Integra. I'll make something a lot nicer, and I'll probably do like the quick, like the flathead quick release mounts or something. We'll see. Where's this one over here? There we go. I think it fits pretty well. What do you guys think? Not too bad. I think I should have put the holes a little bit higher. I think it just looks a little strange right there, but it does definitely get that Darth Vader theme. Just can't wait until I get a hood and another corner light for that side right there. I went ahead and added more rivets down over here, aside from the ones that I had placed on the corners. Then after every other hole down the center, I added a rivet. And although you can still see some deflection of the bumper right there, it's still a lot stronger than what it was before. Ideally, if I were to take my time and actually spend a day to cutting and welding some more of the round tubing that I used on this, then I'd obviously make a skeleton for the whole bottom, or at least 2 or 3 more points, maybe like one right here, one in the center, and then another right there. That would be ideal, but obviously since I'm not gonna take the time for that, I could, but I'm not going to be honest with you. That's gonna have to do for now, which I think the brace still helped at least a little bit, but it's not anything crazy compared to making the skeleton like I did right there. Aside from that, guys, we are concluding the video for today. I know we talked a lot. I gave you guys a big update on what I've been doing personally. I've just been working a lot. You know, I'm trying to save up for what I told you guys earlier in the video. The CRX, like I said, there's some big reveals coming later, probably towards the end of this month or beginning of next month, April. So we'll be definitely keeping you guys in the loop for this. Make sure to hit the notification bell and stay tuned for that. The next video, you guys saw what our issue was on the dyno a couple months ago. We are putting in another disc, a competition stage 5, which is actually what was in it. It didn't break or anything, like there's no chunks that fell out or anything, but I think it was just from the sheer abuse of everything that we put this car through. You got to think, the car's been running for maybe over a year and a half now. Same exact motor. The motor hasn't been rebuilt or anything. The head studs were retorqued after the burnout challenge, but aside from that, the motor is exactly the same. That being said, after the original Yonaka clutch failed about a year and a half ago, we bought a used Stage 5 from competition. Not from competition, it was a competition brand, but from some guy on the street. and it was used already, and we still put it in, and it held up for a long time. But this car has been abused so much, clutch kicked all the time when it was rear-wheel drive, bunch of all-wheel drive launches. So it's time to put a new disc in it. I think it's just a worn disc personally. Now when I actually end up bringing the transmission down and expecting it a little bit more, I can see what's wrong with maybe the pressure plate if it needs a new one. I don't think it will personally. I'm just gonna scuff it up a little with some sandpaper, and the flywheel should still be good since it's an OEM flywheel. I might just scuff it up a little as well. That being said, guys, that is the end of the video. If you aren't already subscribed and you just happened to come across this video because you wanted to check out the bumper, thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button on your way out with the notification bell. And it'll be a huge, huge help if you guys can hit a like on this video. I would really appreciate it. Not only that, but like I said, I'm going to try to make a little bit of a structure to the videos. I want to try to do 2 videos a week. That being said, please let me know in the comment section below what you guys would like to see. I know we always say drop a comment or whatnot, but I really want to read your guys' comments on what you want to watch on the channel, and try to keep it somewhat oriented towards like budget, because like I said, I'm trying to save up for a house. That's the biggest thing right now, and I still want to have some fun and give you guys good content in the meanwhile as well. So let me know down below, guys. Thank you so much again for watching. We'll see you on the next video, and hope everybody has a great rest of their day. Peace.